So it's 10:45. We'll go ahead and get started. I'll ask the question, but I know that there have been some road rearrangements, and this is the asset management, ODOT asset management plan. Is everybody in the right spot? Check your syllabi. Make sure you're in the right spot. So basically, this presentation is going to give an overview of Ohio's transportation asset management plan, inclusive of roles and responsibilities throughout the agency. Emphasis will be placed on this holistic plan, underscoring the fact that this is truly a team effort. And your presenter today is Mr. Drew Williams, who's with the Division of Planning and Technical Services. So let's give Drew a warm round of applause.
I love the IT world because you can dress down and be nice outside, just have some fun. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through this whole asset management plan. A lot of people don't understand what asset management is. They hear about this TAM, Transportation Asset Management Plan. What is it? And everything like that. You're going to be the most knowledgeable people at ODOT as to what the asset management plan is. This asset management plan is accounting for an efficiency over the last 4 years of somewhere close to $400 million. And I'll show you that as we actually go through. I want you to also embrace the fact that this plan is a holistic plan. That just about everybody in this building, whether you know it or not, from the ODOT side, IT, all the different divisions, play a role in this. And it has turned out to be one of the most successful things that I've seen since I've been here, as noted from the feds. I will be traveling to Austin, Texas next week to present what you fine folks here at ODOT have been able to achieve. It is truly amazing what we've been able to do. So what I'm going to do here is actually take you through and kind of educate you on what this is so that you understand and have a good feeling for your role in it and what your role that you play in it and how we develop this plan and why this plan is so significant. Okay, it's more than just a document. There's a lot of activity in and around that. So we're going to walk through. People give a formal definition of asset management, a structured approach with development, coordination, control, and activities undertaken on assets by organization over the life of an asset.
That's the other duty I get to perform.
And you do it quite well.
Well, it didn't work. So.
Bottom line is taking care of what you have. Okay? A lot of people ask the question sometimes, what is an asset? An asset is any kind of physical item, okay, or items that the Department of Transportation either we own or we manage. Much like your house, much like your car, okay? Think of it the same way. We're managing the same thing here, all these different assets, bridges, pavements, culverts, and on and on and on. We're managing these things. By not managing them, it becomes mismanagement. And we know what happens if you mismanage your budget at home, or you mismanage the maintenance on your car. It's not going to go very well for you. So the bottom line is, even with this elaborate definition, the bottom line is taking care of what you have. Okay? What are the strategic things you can do to take care of what you have? We have a $115 billion portfolio of assets. $115 billion. Okay? I think if we were to look at GDP or something like that, we'd be like number 127. We're ranked higher than Jamaica and some other countries I could not pronounce. But 115 billion, all right, in terms of total assets. And we're over that, okay? But it's roughly about 115 billion. Payments being the largest one, $65 billion worth of payment that we manage. Now that doesn't include the other 100,000 plus miles that we oversee, the streets you live on, okay? We manage that too in terms of oversight. But the stuff that we physically manage day to day, $65 billion in payment. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of cheese, all right? And we've got to take care of and be responsible for. On the state system, though, we're dealing with about 43,000 miles of road, or roughly about 50,000, these are directional, roughly about 50,000 lane miles that we actually physically manage ourselves. A little bit over 14,000 bridges that we manage at ODOT, and actually it's closer to 100,000 culverts now, depending on your definition of culvert, the pipe size and things like that. But these are called the big three. So if you hear anybody around the building talk about the big three, all right? Not talking about Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State. It's talking about bridges, pavements, and culverts. Pavement, bridges, and culverts, okay? That is our big three. And you saw the dollar amounts. The other thing that's significant about these assets in Ohio, 6% of the United States and Canadian populations live within a 1 day's drive of Ohio. 60%, okay? Why is that significant? Because we're fifth in terms of the amount of interstate miles that we have. There's a lot of stuff running up and down Interstate I-71, 75, okay, around 270, going all different directions. All those goods somehow make their way through Ohio, all right? And we're still expecting a huge tsunami of freight to come as soon as the canal is rebuilt. We're going to have much more coming our way, okay? That's why it's significant. That's why the role that you guys play is so critical. Now I'm going to start this video, and this right here should be able to sum up what asset management is in 2 minutes. All right? I'm a firm believer in elevator speeches. Normally when I go into the Oval Office, which I call the director's office, I call it the Oval Office, that's between us and this room. They don't know that. When I go to the Oval Office, all right, or I meet any of them on the elevator, I have about 30 seconds to make my pitch. Even if they give me a 30-minute meeting, I got about 30 seconds. Sometimes I might get a minute to be able to make my pitch. So this time I asked Director Ray, give me 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So in 2 minutes, you ought to have a pretty good idea of what asset management is. So let's see if we can get this to work out okay.
In today's rapidly advancing world, innovative technologies are coming online faster than ever, and ODOT is using these to preserve the health of more than 43,000 lane miles, 14,000 bridges, and 80,000 culverts for the easy movement of goods and people. For example, with today's state-of-the-art systems, we can collect better information, store it in a single data warehouse, and make data-driven decisions like never before. The result? ODOT is now able to pave 1,700 more miles annually for about the same cost. This is important because well-maintained roads means safer roads for everyone. And for the first time, we have a complete electronic inventory of Ohio's culverts. Why does this matter? Say there's a road that needs paved, but underneath is a culvert that keeps water from flooding it. Should we replace the culvert now or wait? ODOT doesn't want to have to come back and rip up new pavement to do this. Think of it like a house project. Who wants to update the cabinets and then go back and tear them out to fix the plumbing? ODOT's new cost-benefit analytics help us consider the condition of the culvert first, so we can keep everything in good repair at the same time, from roads and bridges to lighting, guardrails, and road signs. Speaking of bridges, we're now cleaning and sweeping 3 times as many and repairing 150 more a year, thanks to our practical approach to frequent maintenance. While we're using new technology to better measure the data, it's our people and processes that are helping us manage it smarter. Hundreds of different planners, engineers, highway crews, and contractors across the state now continuously share the same data, work plans, and best practices to get repairs done. In 2015, ODOT projected this increased efficiency would save $300 million over 6 years, but now we estimate nearly $400 million will be saved and go right back into maintenance. So even though operating budgets haven't increased, we're squeezing more out of each dollar, just like we promised. Thanks to our dedicated professionals, innovative processes, and advanced technology. But ODOT's not stopping here, because the future is coming, like new connected and autonomous cars that drive themselves, talk to each other, and roadside sensors along the way. ODOT will be ready. That's another story. Stay tuned. Visit our website to learn more.
You can tell Charles there's no traffic lights on that either. 2 minutes. Director Ray got it. Okay? Now this video is going all across the United States. We're the only state that I know that actually has a marketing plan for asset management. And the idea is the fact that I've got just a few minutes to be able to make people understand. So by looking at that video, where you're able to kind of get an idea of what we're doing, okay? And you saw throughout this the role that IT plays with that. All across the state, whether it's central office or whether it's DoIT, whether it's NASs and the district offices, our TAM coordinators, which you're going to hear from here a little bit later, everybody plays a role in this. and this is very significant. Nobody's touting this. Other people are going for a gas tax. Now, we may end up having to go for a gas tax too, but we're better structured to be able to say, here's what your money's going to get you. All right? I have an elevator speech for everybody. I have one for the legislature. I have one for the industry, the asphalt people, the concrete people. I got one for Director Rec. I got one for the folk, the homeowners. When we go out, we chip seal their roads in front of their house. They want to know why. Asset management. Okay? If they don't agree with me, I just say, damn it. Listen to me. Transportation asset management. Okay? But we actually have an elevator speech for everybody. I know Jimbo, I didn't curse Jimbo. I didn't curse. I put a T in there instead of a D. But basically, I want to make sure that we have some kind of communication plan so that people understood exactly what we're actually doing. And we're utilizing that plan all across the entire state. Also, there's a piece for the people who are internal. All right, there's little communication cards that go out to folks. Frontline people on the ground, boots on the ground. I'm very partial to our maintenance crews. These are the people that normally are the first people to get the middle finger because of construction, because they see it first. These are the people who have to deal with picking up dead carcasses on the road. These are the people that got to maintain whatever we come up with when we design. These are the folks. So when we talk about giving them access to data, business intelligence, analytics, handheld mobile devices that tell them where they're at out in the field, it's critical. It is very critical. And I'll show you some examples as we go through this, why this is so important. Now I'm going to take you on a journey. All right? I'm going to take you 2/10 of a mile. 2/10 of a mile down the roadway. And I want you to look at this and I want you to see how much money that we have in our portfolio just in this 2/10 of a mile. Guardrail, okay? Very expensive, but very necessary from a safety standpoint. We have overhead signs. We have an inventory of overhead signs in our database. We can tell where all of them are at. You got pavement here. Not in very good shape. We have pavement, sound barriers, all right, for environmental purposes, for homeowners and businesses. Make sure we cut down on noise, okay? Keep going through, we got signs. I got an estimate that if we wanted to collect every sign that we manage on our roadway, it would be over $24 million worth of effort for a consultant to collect all of that, okay? So as we keep going down this road, again, 2/10 of a mile, not even really a quarter of a mile. All right, we got tower lighting. We have an inventory of tower lighting now across the state, every district. We collected that in 6 weeks using technology. Collected all of them in 6 weeks. All right, again, mile markers. So we know exactly where we're at on the network. Pavement, 6 lanes, 0.2 miles. 1.4 million, almost $1.5 million if I had to replace that. All right? Overhead structures. This is what happens when we don't know stuff. All right? That's what asset management is about. The reason why we're collecting all these inventories. I always tell people, I want to know where stuff is at. Like, Drew, why are you doing this? I want to know where stuff is at. We need to know. All right? Because if we don't know, catastrophic things can happen. Budgets can get impacted. We got people don't believe in it. Some people don't believe in global warming and all these kind of things. We're getting floods like we've never seen before. Wildfires like we've never seen before across the country. These kind of things happen. I've seen floods like this in Ohio where on the other side of the bank were people who couldn't get across. Had to get a rescue effort to get them out. What size culvert was there? When was the last time the culvert was inspected? Was it the right size culvert? These are the kind of things that actually happen when you don't know. Asset management requires you to know stuff. Know what stuff is, know what kind of condition it's in, how do you replace it, the best way to deal with it. And my daughter loves this video clip. She watches me when I do presentations because she thinks this is a monster coming out of the ground. She thinks it's a giant caterpillar. Okay? But these things happen. Go down to southern Ohio after the last flood early this year. I went down there. Complete roadways gone. Okay? So we're collecting all these different various types of data. Okay? Working with you guys. Pavement conditions. We know where our pavement conditions are, not only here, but also 11,000 miles of federal aid routes, which are not on the state system. Okay? We know where those are at. We're using GIS mapping, TIM system like Charles showed, to be able to identify. And Deb Gardner is collecting all kinds of counts, traffic counts. We're collecting more counts than ever. And Sandy Mabel, who's representing us out here, downtown Columbus. On the log, big funky pimped out van that's out back. All right, we're utilizing that, okay, to collect information, know where we're at. We can see where things are located. We collect skid tests, the potential for you to skid because of lack of friction. We collect that information. We own that at the Department of Transportation. And I keep telling you guys to slow down when they're collecting all this data. But the funky pimped out van is collecting quite a bit of data. So basically, we're on overload of information, data collection. The key is working with you, the IT professionals, those working as a team, we can convert this to useful information that we're going to make decisions off of. This is my intern did this. I told him I would leave his claim to fame. He wanted to put that in there. But anyway, but basically, we're collecting all this information for a purpose. Our asset management plan is data-driven, okay? I have a big poster up in tech service that basically says that opinions without facts, making decisions without facts is just an opinion. Some people may not agree with that, but I'll say it again. Making decisions without facts, without data, is basically an opinion. We have worked too long at the Department of Transportation where we utilize opinion. The last 5 years or so, we have moved into making data-driven decisions, all because of what you guys are doing. So when those people come to you in your district and talk about the Collector Act and being able to get access to data, your TAM coordinators are working with the NASs, making sure we got that good relationship. This is why we have to be able to make better decisions. All right? Now, how are we going to do this? People, processes, technology. We have $115 billion worth of assets. The number one asset above, over and beyond all of it is people, human capital, our people. All right? You are more valuable than any asset we have. And we have to actually make sure that everybody understands that. We have to value that. We have to reward that. We have to make sure that that's well taken care of. So let's talk about the ODOT people. The way we structure this, and this works out really, really well, we have what we call an asset management leadership team. Some people know that, some people probably don't. We call it AMLT. We love acronyms. AMLT. Okay, Asset Management Leadership Team. The most critical part of this group is this leadership team down here. These are all the people like you and me. All right? These are your practitioners. These are your day-to-day people. We have a DBO for every single asset or system that's out there. DBO stands for Data Business Owner. We don't collect any data unless we have a DBO. We don't do it. All right? Somebody's got to own it. Remember, I want to know where the stuff is at. I also want to know who owns it. Whoever owns it has responsibility from a policy standpoint. You set policy. Again, you're important. You're part of the program, part of the team. Also, it's comprised of central and district offices. In the district offices, we have SMEs, subject matter experts. They're the ones who get the policy about that asset and they manage day to day what happens with it. And then we have TAM coordinators, who you're going to hear from a little bit later, who are going to be working with you in NASs, which I'm sure they already are, but working with you to make sure that the DBO, who set the policy, working down to the district level, the SME, who's managing the day-to-day, making sure that things are going back and forth between central office. All right? That middle section right there, deputy directors, is really our asset management council. This is a group of people that basically hear the things that we talk about, the different needs that we have, the different ideas that we have. Keep in mind, all those assets that I mentioned that we collected before, those ideas were born down here. We pushed that up to here. We're leading up. It's important. And then here, they make a decision. The Tech Council sits down here because a lot of these require technology investments. Okay? Technology investments. That's where you guys come in again. Trying to make sure that we vet through what is it that we need to do to be able to get this done. How are we going to collect it? What are the resources that we need to bring to bear to make this happen? Again, efficiency of 400 million. You don't get there. You don't stumble out of bed to do that. You plan to be successful. All right? And that's what we're doing. This is a two-way street. There's some things that they push down to us. For example, I happened to go to a meeting. They were talking about tower lights falling down 3 or 4 years ago. Tower lights fell down in District 3. Attorney General said, I want all tower lights inspected to make sure it's not going to happen It could be catastrophic, could fall across the roadway, kill somebody. I'm just sitting in the meeting, doodling, don't tell anybody that, I'm just sitting in the meeting. Finally, they were talking about, well, we don't have a way of doing this. Go back to the office, John Puente, he and Kendra were there. Told them what I just heard. Those two guys said, well, you know, we have this thing called the Esri Collector app that we could set this thing up and collect some assets. Take it back to the meeting and say, hey, you guys trying to figure this out in 6 weeks? We think we can collect this in 6 weeks. And in 6 weeks, it was done. That's the power of what you guys could do. All right? But that came from up here and came down. This was broken down to 4 different subgroups. All right? Communications group. I talked to you about what those folks do. We have some PIOs in the district that sit in that group. Our communications group in the central office and some DDs. We sit around, we strategize about how do we communicate better. All right? And believe me, when you go chip seal a homeowner in front of a homeowner's house, that homeowner a lot of times is not that happy about it. You better have your elevator speech. 30 seconds, I can give it to you. Okay? You better have it laid out, ready to go. When a reporter comes and jams a microphone in front of your face, why are you doing this? You need your 30-second elevator speech. We have a kit online for anybody who's dealing with that, whether it's a newspaper, a radio station, a legislator, anybody. All right? That's what that group does. They figure out ways to communicate the message of asset management. It's trending better and better and better every year. Okay? Infrastructure group. These are the people that come up with the work plan. And the reason why I want to bring this up, I'm going to walk you through a really quick example of this, just so you get a flavor for how this happens. How do we pick projects? How do they know what road they're going to do next year? How? It's all technology based, okay? Took a long time for us to get that push, but we finally did it, all right? And all of you, a good chunk of people in this room play a role in that, whether you know it or not. Telmada Group, chaired by John Puente, that's the group that comes up and vets through asset management, inventory, data collection, okay? We can't do this without good information. We have to have good, solid information. And that's the group, very smart, very smart people that sit in that group and figure out ways to collect information. So what happens is, we go to them and say, hey, we want to collect a deep ditch inventory, for example, okay? Now, I was, just like you, I was asking, like, what the heck is a deep ditch inventory? How are you going to collect that? District 3 was the one that asked me that. So I asked them, well, how do you tell if it's deep or not? And they said, well, we ride down the roadway, we take the youngest intern we have, we throw the intern in the ditch. If we can't see him, it's deep. I said, well, you got to see John Puente and get a little bit more savvy than that. But that's what the Telmada Group does. Data governance. We were very fortunate to finally present to the executive staff in the Oval Office for data governance. All right, this ought to make the IT people do backflips. We're going to standardize these data formats. All right, we're going to go through, we're going to build up a back-end warehouse, a real data warehouse or data lake, whichever one you prefer, on the back end. We're going to bring all these systems together. We're going to integrate, connect them all, make sure we can pump these updates. So you won't have all these 2 and 3 different names for certain counties. The maintenance people call Ashland County ASH. The engineering side call it ASD. When you try to link capital and maintenance together, guess what? It's not happening. Those are the kind of things that we're going to get rid of. Charles Ash was very instrumental in his short tenure so far, going in there and arguing the fact we need this. Okay? We need this. All right? So again, this is going to link all of you from IT and all the other different business worlds. Okay? Now, as you can see, the theme is the same all the way through. Transparent boundaries. Yes, you're in IT. Yes, I'm in tech services and planning. Somebody else may be in construction. We're all linked at the hip. Data-driven decisions. This is how we're going to make sure that we take care of this. We can't build our way out of construction. We're going to think our way out. So let's move to processes. If you walk around the divisional planner, you'll see this plastered on walls. If you go in the Oval Office, you'll see this plastered on the wall. We're following this very simple circle right here. We're maintaining critical asset inventory. We talked about that. You saw that, the big, giant caterpillar coming up out of there. We want to know what's going on, okay? So we know that. Status performance targets. We're establishing targets that we meet. We have a plan. If you look at our asset management plan out there, it talks about maintaining an average pavement condition of 85 on the interstate. We're above that, okay? Maintaining our bridges so we don't have any bridges, no more than 90%, 90% of our bridges above a GA of 7, okay? Those are the things that we're trying to do, all right? So we have performance targets that we're hitting, part of our plan. Then we're developing work plans. I love this process because it's very collaborative, all right? That process is basically what the districts go through. We run a system, payment management system, that goes through and identifies where we should be doing work over the next 6 years. So for those, some of you who are math geeks, linear programming, optimization, that's what it's doing. It's basically calculating the benefit you get from doing certain projects in a certain year. Those combinations of projects makes up our work plan. Payment, bridge, culverts. Here's the trick of it all. Here's the neat thing about it. It used to be maintenance had one plan, capital and engineering side planning had another plan. The two plans were not together. This new way of doing business, they are together. They're linked together, okay? So every April, what we do, we bring in a room about this big. We bring every district in. They come in as a team. They come in with their planning person, their pavement person, their bridge person. Sometimes they bring their NAS person. They bring their deputy director. They bring their BHR. All these people come in the room and they present their work plan. How many people do I need? How much material do we need? Here's the different payments we're going to work on in the next 6 years. Here's what I'm going to do maintenance for the next 2 years. And oh, by the way, I need some additional funding, which they don't get most of the time, but they ask for it. All right? But they come in the room and they present this. Total collaboration. That's how we're getting that $400 million. And then we're going to monitor for continuous improvement. All right? A system dies unless you can keep it going. It's got to live. All right? This is a living process. If we go in and find out we're trending a little bit lower than 85 on the pavement side, what are we going to do to get it above 85? All right? What if it's not working? What if we're falling down on our interstates, our U.S. routes, and our state routes? What if it's not working? You don't want to find out about that after an accident. You don't want to find out about that after the phone call comes from the governor's office. You don't want to find out about that when you lose economic development opportunity because your roads are not in good shape. And you can believe it or not, when these companies come into these states pitch against each other. Just like recruiting an athlete. They walk in and say, hey, did you hear about the roads in Michigan? They're crap. You don't want to bring your product there. All your eggs will crack if you ride up down that highway. Bring your business and your plant to Ohio. All right? That's why we have the Office of Jobs and Commerce. All right? It's because of that. Economic development. I kid you not. People will move where they've got access to resources for their company. People will move, companies will move. I did a survey on this. Companies will move where people are happy. Great place to live, work. Can I get to where I need to go? All right? We service 5.5 million employees across the state with our highway network. 5.5. All right? We got to make sure that we get them there, so we monitor for continuous improvement. These are the dashboards and different things that we see that we have to keep track of that. We want to know. The funky pimped out van out there tells me what you feel when you ride them down the highway. So I know if you're getting a bad ride or a good ride. So we're going to monitor that stuff. And then we have a communication strategic plan, and then we start that loop again. This right here is the work plan. All right? This is your $2.2 billion work plan. All right? That's what makes up this plan, right? This plan is worth $2.2 billion. All right? On average. Last 3 or 4 years, we've been doing about $2.2 billion worth of work. And we're getting there with this. We are trending above all of our metrics because of this. Okay? The only thing I want to highlight on this is right here. We run a payment management system. I'm going to show you a quick illustration of that. That executive management comes back and says, okay, yeah, we want to spend $2.2 billion. All right? That payment management system identifies from a payment standpoint where the money should go. What district should get what. Okay? So it used to be the districts were responsible for meeting the goal. Okay? Now, the problem with that was, we didn't tell you how to do it. We didn't tell the districts how to do it. So if I told you to make sure that 90% of your payments are above a payment condition rating of 85, and I don't tell you how to do it, you can meet it. You can get a black can of spray, cover it up, and meet it. It looks like it's brand new, right? You can pick projects that are not maybe the best projects in the world. Not to say that any district would do that, but what we found is that we were putting you in a corner unfairly, okay? Not giving you enough money, so what would happen was the district would sometimes dumb down the projects, spread the money out so they can meet the goal. The problem with that is that you would perform terrible, in some cases poorly, all right? So what we did now, we reversed that. Central office is saying, you're going to follow this payment management system. 75% that comes out of this computer program, you're going to follow. All right? We're going to own the metrics. We're going to own the performance measures. So if we screw up, guess what? It's the Oval Office fault. We're going to measure the districts on delivery. Okay? We need you to deliver what comes out of here. All right? And then down here, the two worlds are going to come together. You guys are going to collaborate better. So if you hear the district in the district office, them talking about gap projects and ready-to-pay projects, that's what they're referring to. The payment management system is going to tell you to do some things you might not want to do. So here's the payment management system. Some people call it the black box. When I first ever heard of payment management, I did too. Typically what comes out of it, you get a bunch of question marks from people. Because they look at the output and say, are you kidding me? You want me to go work on what? All right? And I'll give you an example of that. Now, Exhibit A and Exhibit B. If you saw these two rows right here, which one would you work on first, A or B? Payment management system might not agree. All right? And here's why. I'm not going to give you detail. Typically, the row that looks like this right here, by the time it gets down to this level, it's 10 times the cost of trying to do it here. Okay? This right here is just starting to deteriorate with some low-level cracking, rattling, longitudinal cracking, some edge issues. Okay? Rattling is just disintegration of the surface right here. Lets water get down the pavement, you get this. 10 times as much here than here. So, we put pavements in buckets, for example. Pavement condition rating 90 and above, good pavement. Probably have a problem with that. Crack seal it, you're good. 80 to 90. Some lower level cracking, we take care of it. 70, 80, fair. Getting in the 60s, starting to get bad. Below 65, below 60, you're horrible. Get down below 50, you're worse than horrible. And so on and so forth. The bottom line is that you want to be able to hit a percentage of the payments in those different bands. So the payment management system operates that way. It says, put so much money here, and we'll pick these off. Put some money here too. Why? I don't want this road to get like that road. If I do, I can't afford it. I would never be able to get out of that hole. I'm working with a county right now. I won't name Mahoney County. I won't name it. Their county road system is bad. They reached out to me and said, hey, we don't understand this payment management stuff. People are coming in trying to sell us applications. They told us we spent $1 million on this application. How do we get out? I told them with an Excel spreadsheet, I can tell you how to get out of this issue right here. Okay? But it's going to take time, and it's going to take money. But they didn't have any inventory of condition of the roadways. So we did what? We went out and we collected all that for them. All right? City of Canton passed their budget for the first time in 30 years on the first vote based off data that we collected for them on condition. Payment management system is optimizing the best benefit for the dollar. The best benefit for the dollar is not to always fix. It's not to always fix the most expensive payment. It's a combination of preserving what you have and then fixing the really bad. Okay? Now a lot of people don't understand it. That's why you saw those question marks when that came out of that payment management system. What in the H-E-L-L, I didn't curse again, what in the H-E-L-L are you doing? This payment management system is wrong. I've heard all that from the district. All right? So then we do a grade card. This comes out, put it into a data table. This is a District 3. This is what they're planning on doing in FY18. This is a different treatments, number of miles, and so on and so forth. Okay? So this is what they give us. All right? They have to be 75% compliant. 75% compliant. Now, here's where a lot of you come in. We collect all this data. We put it in the payment management system, the databases that we have. Feed into the payment management system. It's an open architecture system. It's pulling in a traffic file. It's pulling in a payment file. It's pulling in road inventory file. It is pulling in Ellis information. It's pulling in maintenance information. It's pulling in historical construction projects. And on and on and on. It's pulling in all this stuff. And it's identifying and calculating the benefit if I do this project in fiscal year 18. And this is what the district comes up with. All right? These gap projects down here, like I showed you on the previous one. This road right here, if it didn't get picked, we hand it over to maintenance. And maintenance says, okay, you're not going to get to this to 2020. What do I need to do to hold it to 2020? All right? That's called a gap project. It's the gap between right now and when you're going to work on it. All right? So again, collaboration didn't used to happen. So that road would just stay like that until somebody called in and said, you know what? You know, what's going on? Some politician rolled on and complained about it. That didn't happen anymore. They know when the project's going to happen. Now they have a project, a gap project on the maintenance side. Our own ODOT people go out and hold it over. In some cases, they come back and say, you know what? Costs too much. We can't do that. I'm throwing money out there. Over in, like in the District 11 area where they're fracking roads and stuff like that, you're just throwing money away. So what we do, we move that project up. That's the collaboration that we're having. We didn't used to do that. So again, we're saving more money by having a better collaboration, better process, and listening to our people. We didn't do that before. All right? So the process is actually working. And then we go in and make sure they're compliant. Here are their percentages. Told you 75%. They're hitting it. All right? Yay, District 3. 75% compliant. Good job. This is how we're doing it, folks. All right? We're one of the few states that's gotten our hand around it. Everybody talked about how complicated it was. They told me I was an idiot. Your child talking about. They told me I was an idiot back in 2000 when I told them about building all these databases. All right? We can't do all that. It's too hard. We're never going to get it done. Blah, blah, blah. We got it done. We got it done. We record every construction project that gets done on the roadway. We collect all that information. Okay? All that data that we're collecting, people said we couldn't do it, we did it. We pulled it off. Here's before and after. If we would have stuck to doing what we used to do, here's where we would have trended. The old investment way. And this is no different than if you went to a financial planner, a good financial planner. Keep doing what you're doing, Mr. Williams. Here's what's going to happen. Kids aren't going to college. It'll work till you're 85. Here's what happens if you have better financial planning. People, process, technology, leveraging the stuff that we have to make it better. When I sold this to the executive office, again, I had my elevator speech. It didn't take me long to figure out what they wanted to hear. So I went in and said, if we do this asset management plan, we're going to save 15% of your capital program. $300 million. Now that raised some eyes. $300 million? I'm all for it. Let's go. Let's do this in 2 minutes. All right? Now keep in mind, I've been pitching this for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. In a matter of a few minutes, Director Ray was like, let's do it. Let's do it. All right? So now we're trending more towards $400 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Imagine where we would be if we didn't have that. If we had an $80 million hole this past year, we got a $400 million hole coming up. $400 million hole coming up next year. All right? We're not going to be able to build our way out of that because there's no money. We're going to have to be more efficient. Okay? And so what I've been telling the Oval Office is invest in you. Invest in this resource right here, people, process, technology, we can figure out how to get it done. All right? We've proven that. Follow this process right here. Cradle to grave. I'll mention cradle to grave all around the state. We go cradle to grave. We have a plan from the time we collect an asset all the way through. Inventory collection, all these different systems use it. Condition, you heard the critical success factors. Life cycle. I want to know about how long a road's going to last if I put a 2-inch overlay on it. I want to know if I go in and fix the deck a certain kind of way on a bridge, how long it's going to last. Okay? If I can predict that, I can manage my money better. If you can predict everything that would happen to your house before it happened, you'd be better off, right? Same thing here. I want to be able to predict. That's what the life cycle is. I'm very adamant about life cycle planning. Plan for the life cycle. When am I going to do maintenance on my car? When do I have to rotate my tires? When do I have to replace them? Okay? Everybody gets an owner's manual with your car that tells you every 3,000 miles do what? Change the oil. Every X thousand miles on the wheels do what? Rotate them or replace them. Same thing here. If I can predict this, I can manage money better. All the way through to the work plan development, which I just showed you. Every district goes through that same exercise. Working with capital and maintenance. Okay? Then to construction. We got to hand off something to the construction folks. They go out and they build it. And then what do? They turn around and hand it to maintenance. So like John Puente is working on the handoffs. All right? I'm handing something to you. Okay? What are you handing to me? I'm handing this new treatment type. I'm handing you this new pavement. I'm handing you new assets, and here's where they're located. All right? So the maintenance folks can go out and keep them in good condition. The number one killer of a pavement, particularly on a 2-lane road, is water that gets underneath it. If it doesn't drain, you're going to have pain. All right? If it doesn't drain, you're going to have pain. All right? Something as simple as unplugging an outlet could add about 4 to 5 years on a piece of pavement. That's somebody going and just cleaning it out. Now, they would tell me, Drew, that'd be great. I just don't know where they're at. That's why we have the inventories now. So we have an under-drain outlet inventory. So we know where they're at. We clean them out. We add 4 to 5 years to the pavement. That's how we're going to save more money. All right? So now you see why we do what we do. There's a method to the madness. Let's talk about technology. This is just a small part of the technology stack. All right? I'm just giving you the tech services perspective. All these different things right here are technology projects that we're working on. So you're hearing about all of this stuff. Some of you may be hearing about it for the first time. Some highly technical stuff. TAM DST, business intelligence. You ought to be able to walk or pick up your phone or go to your computer, speak into a microphone, and say, hey, do it. Charles, I think I'm going to call mine Charles. Charles, what's between log point 0 and 10 on licking 70? And it will come back and tell me I've got 2,500 culverts, I've got 10 miles of pavement, I've got 20 lane miles of pavement, I've got X number of bridges, I've got blah, 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 blah. Here's the condition of it. All right? Now, once I have that information, I can start going through what's wrong? Is anything out there that's wrong? Is something falling apart? That's where we're going with this technology, business intelligence. I'll be able to see it on a map. I'll be able to tell, are there any endangered species there? Are there any buffalo clover? I almost got in trouble one time because I was getting ready to remove some buffalo clover on the side of the roadway. I almost got put in jail for that. I still don't know what buffalo clover is. I just know don't touch it if you ever see it. Okay? Those are the kind of things that you'll find. So all the 100 different data sets that you see in TIMS are the ones that you'll be able to interact with all this inventory data. We just started a slow rollout of that. Big thanks to all of you that helped work on that particular project. TIMS, MS2, the traffic count system. We are collecting more counts today than we ever had. All right? The Oval Office want to know, why are we collecting all these counts? Rhode Island's not doing it. Like, Rhode Island's the size of Columbia County. You know? That's why we do it. That's why we're doing it. We have, what, 7 large urbanized areas? The traffic pattern dynamic is incredible here in this state. Unlike most states. we have a diverse movement of people in and around. Go look at the time lapse of I-270. All right, and look at the urbanized area. It used to be on the inside of 270, and now it's all the way on the outside. So we have to count that stuff. All right. The neat thing about this is that now we're actually facilitating counts coming from the locals, so they can upload their counts in. This is a cloud-based system that you can get to and look at all kinds of stuff. We weigh vehicles. Some of you don't even know that. We weigh vehicles. If you rode around, do we still have 270?
No.
Okay. You ride on I-70, you go 70 west.
75.
75. As soon as you rolled over there, it weighed you. You got weighed. Your vehicle got weighed, you got weighed in it. Tells us how much you weigh on each axle, tells us how fast you're going, tells us what kind of vehicle you are driving or you're in, or what kind of vehicle it is. Okay? Time of day. So we can keep track of such things as loaded vehicles, how much they weigh, when is the peak time for certain vehicles. All that factors into travel time reliability, for example. Okay? And again, don't discredit economic development. If I can't get my goods up and down I-75 in a timely fashion, you think I want to put my company here? No. Those are the kind of things that we're doing with this kind of technology. All right? And on and on and on. I'm going to spend a lot of time on it. The funky pimped out van. You're going to be able to see it out back here, but I want you to see what it does. All right? This is the funky pimped out van. Some people call it the Scooby van. All right? Rides up and down the highway. It has cameras. Right, left, forward, backwards. Camera looking down on the pavement. The amount of things that you can see with this vehicle is incredible. Okay? As a IMU that rivals that what you see in the military. Okay, so it's picking up very, very finite items. When you look at the pavement, it looks like you're looking at an X-ray. Here's some of the things they can do. Macro texture is becoming a big one. That's the potential for you to hydroplane. We collect that off that vehicle. All right? Used to be that the video imaging was in one vein. The ride quality was in this vein. Skin testing was done, macro testing was done with a different vehicle. All right? All these different vehicles went across this whole state collecting data. Now they're getting collected in one vehicle. We can collect assets with this. We can measure the roadway with this. I can tell you how wide the roadway is. I can do some measurements of height with it. All right? Look at that. It has a measuring distance there. We can collect an asset like a guardrail off of it. We collected over 75,000 barrier runs across the whole state. We brought 25 interns in during Christmas break, collected everything. Pretty amazing. Utilizing this technology right here off of the funky pimp out van. All right? So technology at its best. You have access to this pathway. It is public facing. Okay? My wife utilizes Tim's to help her with her shopping. She can upload addresses and then put little pin drops on all the different stores she wants to go to. You can interact with this. If you have a parcel data set, you can interact with PathWeb and drive down the roadway and see addresses. It's amazing stuff that you can do with this technology. A lot of people are not utilizing it as much as they should. We're pushing that starting this fall, going into the winter. So in the districts, we'll be coming to you, pushing this technology so people can actually see it. Okay? Some amazing, amazing stuff that we're able to do with it. You can see stuff on bridge decks that you can't see with the naked eye. I can tell you if a crack was really sealed, or if a patch was really patched. Okay? Absolutely incredible stuff that you can do with this kind of technology with that vehicle. This vehicle, along with some of the other data like traffic and things like that, accounts for $1.1 billion that we get back from the federal government. We'll report this information to Congress. We are bound by law to do so. Our asset management plan that we just turned in, if we're not compliant, we have a 35% penalty. 35% of $2.2 billion, you do the math. Nobody's going to want to pay that. So that's why we're doing what we're doing, and we're doing it well. Okay? Continuous improvement. We talked about that. Data governance, we just got the approval for that project. That got put out on the street yesterday for solicitation. That involves all of us, all right? So we'll be working with only with central office folks, also with the district people. Last fall, 2017 on it, we actually didn't get it out last fall, we got it out this fall. We have a playbook, very similar to a football playbook, okay? In our asset management plan, we list the top 8 challenges that we're going to encounter, and we have to have a plan. Again, 30-second elevated pitch to the executive office. Here's the plan. Okay? They were like, well, we're going to be able to execute this. We got some challenges. What are those challenges? I read them off. Here are the challenges. They told me, Jim Barner told me it was too complicated. So my boss put it on my evaluation that I had to communicate with Jim Barner a little bit better. So I had to dumb it down some. So I dumbed it down by coming up with the playbook. Playbook outlines challenges. You can find this online also. So basically it goes in and talks about challenge number 1. What happens if our funding is flat? All right? What cost us $1 in 2006 now it costs us $1.56, $1.56. Our buying power is kind of going away. So what happens if we don't get more money? That's a challenge. We got the 5th most interstate, 2nd most bridges in the entire country. Upkeep keeps going up. If we don't get more money, folks, that's a risk. It's a challenge. How are you going to deal with it? Use new business process, stretch the dollar further. These things right here. So that's what the playbook does. The playbook goes through and outlines challenges. And we have a play for all of that. Now in football, a quarterback goes behind the center. He has a play in mind, got in the huddle, came back out, you see him all clap, break, he goes down in front, behind the center, and he's going to execute the play. He looks out the defense and he sees something that doesn't like, okay? Sees the challenge. They do what? They do what they call an audible, which is a change on the spur of the moment, all right? We plan to be successful, all right? So we try to identify those challenges, and then sometimes we have to do an audible. No different if I call the help desk and say, guess what? I need a new data set, and I need it by Friday. All right? Happens, right? That's an audible. We got to come up with another plan. It happens. There's times the governor's office will call and say, hey, I need something. And I'll ask my boss, when do you need it? She'll say, tomorrow. So I turn around to IT and say, I need it today. All right? That's an audible. So we have to be able to do that. So we have these challenges with that. Here's another challenge. Freight volume increase. The amount of volume that moves up and down I-71 is mind-boggling. With Amazon and all these other shipping companies, it's absolutely amazing. You can tell the economy by looking at Sandy's equipment out in the pavement. All these sensors we have what, 200-something permanent sensors? We have over 200-something permanent sensors across the state. I can look at her data, her volume data, and I can tell you how the economy's going. If I had to write a thesis, I would write a thesis on that. Truck increase, things going pretty good, moving a lot of stuff. This is a terrible road. All right? So if we increase this, if that proportion is out of whack in terms of investment to increase in freight, we're going to feel the pain. How many of you have been on I-71 going towards Cincinnati? You bumped your way all the way down to Jeffersonville, didn't you? Yeah. Okay? Freight tears that up. All right? Water got down in the pavement. Last winter was bad. It froze. It unthawed. It cracked. It exploded underneath. And that's what you're seeing. All those ugly spots on the top are called D-bond spots. All right? They look ugly. All right? Base failures. All that stuff is happening. What makes it 10 times worse is freight. All right? There's no way in the world we're going to ever put a restriction on freight. Why? That kills our economy. So we got to plan better for it and manage it. That's a challenge right here. Huge challenge. Not only to our pavements, but also to our bridges. All right? This is some of the things that we're going to be doing. All right? We're going to preserve better. Like I told you, if I can get the water out, 5 more years on the pavement, save me a lot. It's about just getting water out, unplugging an under drain out. Okay? So we're going to be smart about what we do. We're also putting health monitoring systems on bridges, believe it or not. Technology at its best. IT, you haven't heard of that one. Charles haven't heard of that one yet, so don't tell him it's coming. But we're going to be putting health monitoring systems on bridges. We already have one down in Nelsonville. It tells us what happens when a bridge, when a truck goes across it. It tells me if a bridge is actually starting to sink, okay, or settle. It tells us that stuff. Why? I want to catch it before it actually happens. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but I just wanted you to see. Here's the next one. Challenge number 3, maintain institutional knowledge. 45% of our working workforce at ODOT can get out of here in the next 3 years. Some of them are leaving here in September. Okay? They're taking a lot of institutional knowledge with them. A lot of brains with them, taking it right out the door. Gone. All right? We need to harvest that knowledge. We need to harvest that knowledge. We need a knowledge management plan to be able to do that. They looked at me crazy when I put that one on there. I'm like, hey, coming right out of college, they don't teach you some of this stuff. Nobody's teaching an IT person about transportation as you learn how to code. You learn it on the job, right? That's how you learn. They're not teaching a civil engineer about anything IT related. They're not teaching asset management in the civil engineering curriculum at Ohio State. You learn it here. But if that knowledge walks out the door, there's a deficit with that. Transfer knowledge. And then we talk about how we're going to do it with a play. Limited resources. We have a play for that. Here's one I wanted to get to. Here's what I tell my team in tech services all the time. Don't ever underestimate your value to this organization. And I'll speak to that tomorrow with some other examples. 1,179 people, that's what those chairs represent. Those are empty chairs at the dinner table of somebody's house in 2017 because they didn't make it home. Crashed on our roadway. Not everything is a distracted driver. I tell my team all the time, don't underestimate your value to what you do. Whether it's you servicing a call center, help desk, server, ITS is up, telling us slow down. I'm out collecting skid data, making sure I'm in the right location to make sure that we got it right. That's important. I want to make sure that people are safe. Your family and my family ride around these roads. So when my team goes out and collects skid tests, I tell them to do a darn good job. I want to make sure that you get home safely. That's critical. That many people didn't come home last year. And I'm hoping that number goes down. And now all of it was distracted driving. We're working on a plan for that. But I don't want to give you a bad road. I don't want to give you a road that has no friction. I don't want to give you that. Okay? I've seen too many accidents that happen after, I got too many calls after the fact, after the accident happened, of stuff that we probably could have affected that might have saved a life. All right? Asset management gives us the ability to be able to manage and monitor that. So I'm not going to go through all of these. We measure to manage.
State highway
Listen to
officials
this.
have a good reason for releasing this video of trucks repeatedly hitting and scraping a bridge in downtown Indianapolis. Check it out, one truck right after the other. Well, officials want to close the underpass so they can lower the pavement. They hope the video will convince drivers that the resulting detours and delays will be worth it. You could say that again.
Can you imagine that? Over and over again. They just paved the road. Just paved the road. Nobody thought about, well, how high is the bridge? We have that kind of data here. We know better. You don't get a lot of that here. That's not here. All right? Now, I gave this in a presentation down in Miami, Florida. Never thought in a million years that Indiana DOT was there. I couldn't believe that. The guy sitting front row. I could see him fidgeting in the front seat like he was just uncomfortable. I thought he had to go to the bathroom. And this is in Indiana, all right? On the interstate. Just boom, boom, boom. Somebody decided to go out and put about a 3 to 4 inch overlay on the road, 5 inch, whatever they put on there, only for the trucks to hit the Durham Bridge. So they had to go jack the bridge up all right? So they spent a few million. You saw 1.5 million for that 2/10 of a road of interstate. Imagine doing that and having to come back. I got to deal with the bridge. Got to jack it up, but I also got to deal with the fact that the pavement and the damage to the bridge. Not only that, all right, that's a marketing campaign. You're marketing yourself anytime you do that. Why? Somebody's cargo hit that bridge, all right? Somebody's Amazon whatever didn't make it, all right? So those are the kind of things that asset management does for us, all right? Now I'm going to switch gears really quick. Before I do that, I've got my TAM coordinators here. I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you. I got three of them here. I want to make sure that the reason why I brought them was that they're in the district, at one of these districts. The idea behind the TAM coordinator was, when I first took over tech services, we had a GIS group. And the GIS group at that time, you know, things change over time. We were more self-service, you know, kind of do it, handle it yourself, that kind of thing. And so as I went through and started talking to my team members like Vicky and different people like that, we finally realized that we didn't have a whole lot of interaction with the districts in terms of GIS, geographic information systems, and databases and stuff. So I went out and met this guy named John Puente. Didn't know who this guy was. Somebody said, this guy's a sharp GIS guy, and he likes spaghetti.
They lied to you.
You don't like spaghetti.
And he likes spaghetti. Spaghetti, yes.
Yeah. So I went out and met this guy, and we had a long conversation. Never thought that he would ever be coming to central office to work, and we'd be able to partner up as a team. But it's been absolutely incredible. This guy's incredible in terms of what he does in his service. But as we started talking about it, we came up with our asset management plan. We did not want to leave the districts out. And we thought it was very, very important because, as you can see with the plan that we have, you're the ones responsible for delivery. You make the $2.2 billion happen. We don't save a dime unless you guys do it. All right? I don't deal with any homeowners. Your frontline people in the county garages, they deal with them. They pick up the dead deer to make sure that they're off the road. They cut the grass. They do all the stuff that some people may not want to do. And I applaud them for it. Outstanding group. So we needed somebody that actually could work in liaison with us here in the central office. And so we came up with this concept of the TAM, Transportation Asset Management Coordinators. All right? And those are the folks who represent asset management in the district, working with the different SMEs and other business units as it pertains to managing the assets day to day. Okay? And that's what these folks do. So before I bring them up here, I want to see if you have any questions regarding asset management. Hopefully you know what asset management is right now and your role in it. Any questions on the asset management side, our asset management plan? We just got certification on it from the feds, okay? So we were compliant. But we developed our asset management plan way before the law came into place. All right? We felt like it was the right thing to do. It's a business process. We came up with that before the feds said everybody should have one. So we're already compliant, okay? So everybody's good on that. So, TAM coordinators, can you guys come up here real quick? We're going to finish up early. I don't think anybody will mind that. It's a beautiful day outside. It's just hot. May I have you guys introduce yourselves?
My name is Susan Liggins. I work in District 9, which is the southern portion of the state, down along the river, right centered straight down from Columbus. Been with ODOT for 4.5 years, and since I've been taking over this role, it's been really exciting for me because I've been able to work with the group at central office and sort of implement these new ideas in the district and kind of create this whole teamwork idea that he's been talking about. And it's really starting to finally take off down there, and it's kind of exciting to see how the changes should take place. I'm excited about it.
I'm Amy Code. I work at District 8. I also work for District 7.
She gets 2 checks.
But she works 80 hours a week.
So I've been in the position for about 1.5 years now, and it's been a really great place to work as far as, you know, there's a lot of all these solutions coming out, and the team at central office is really, you know, they're really excited about all these new assets and new programs and things. So that's been really great to be a part of. And they're also, you know, in my role especially, we do get to communicate back and forth between the districts and central office and have some say in how these things are developed. So it's been really good.
Cody Gearhart, I'm at District 5, it's kind of central Ohio, like Fairfield County, around there. I started March, so I'll forgive you for leaving me out there for a second. Yeah, my biggest challenge right now is kind of just figuring out a lot of what ODOT does. I mean, I don't know what retaining walls really worth until I got here, things like that, but communications, that's the biggest thing. Talking to DBOs, the SMEs, talking to the central office. A lot of help came from everywhere, not just my district. So a lot of the people I work with, you know, they're, like you said, maintenance guys, they're, you know, goes to the grindstone, they're working out there in the field doing all the, you know, blue collar work. But a lot of the collaborations I've had in District 5 and with ODOT has been fantastic so far.
I'm Cody Late, District 1, the Lima area. I had a privilege actually working for John when I first started, so from that, some of the stuff he kind of got me started into right away. I've been with ODOT for about 8 years. In those 8 years, went back and forth. I probably know a few of you guys' faces. I've been in the IT department for, I believe, about 5 years as an IT, 6 years in the IT department, and back and forth with planning between that. But in that time, I've always served as GIS and any of this asset management, and our district direction at that point was just how to get stuff mapped properly and do these plans together. And that's where I think even with all other districts, as this now TAM coordinator type position, working with the IT department to, you know, the iPad, getting those set up or getting other stuff set up that way, getting the new tools, new development things coming on. We all have our own direction we want to do, but then again, each district tries to make their own direction. So you guys may all kind of have something different in your district for the IT support of this, but all in all, it's definitely the next big movement I believe ODOT is getting into, along with all the new IT changes, but this is the next one in parallel with that. So
With that, are there any NAS type folks here represent districts? Any other district people, IT wise, everybody's central office? Okay, real quick question to you guys. Can you give us what you consider to be your top challenge as a TAM coordinator working in the district?
Collaboration, and for me, I think too, not being able to get out there to what all of our resources are and actually have them, utilizing them. Some of that is definitely getting in touch with my IT staff and trying to, you know, make sure everyone's got all of the resources that they would need to be able to access some of those platforms.
I'd say for me, it's probably breaking down silos between different departments at the districts. I have an advantage, I think, at District A where they really do collaborate really well among themselves. But even with that, you know, people get kind of locked into how they do something, and you know, I know where the integrates are, so you know, why do I need to tell you, kind of thing. So having the systems and you know, I try to keep in touch with everybody in the different departments and have good relationships across the district. So it's working out.
I've actually been good with District 5, but I still have that collaboration thing where people are so against anything that's new that's coming towards them. So it really is kind of just getting them all the materials that they need, the training, even if it's extremely specific, saying hit this, things like that, just getting them all on the same page to where we can all kind of get together and get all these assets collected and inventoried and run the appropriate analysis on them. So.
I would kind of follow up with that a little bit as well, you know, at the same time, the collaboration efforts. For myself, as a lot of new tools developed in the IT infrastructure, IT area, or as each individual department has their own, whether central office develops it or district develops it, just getting the rest of the district on board with using it, or the whole rest of the state. Now the other ones I had issues with before has been all squashed now, with trying to get the correct database, trying to find the right database for this or that. Before it was always fun. Where's this data at with this system? But now with our publications and the way we're going through some of the asset management, or asset audit group process and procedures, a lot of those documentations are getting more laid out that, you know, it's great for the standard reports as it's built with the system, but as kind of now with us coming on board of become the power users of the data, some more of that side, trying to figure out, okay, yeah, I can read this out, go out from that, but none of those, a lot of that stuff's been ironed out, but we're still going to have a situation, that makes discussions like IT alone. You guys always have that problem too. So.
Are there any questions from any of you for the TAM coordinators? You know who they are, you know what their what their role is. I want to make sure I introduce them to you. Any questions that you have for any of them? Outstanding. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
How long do you spend on any TAM work? Is that your full-time job to make sure that there's things going on properly in your organization and communication, stuff like that happens?
I think for me, so much of it's coordination between planning side, the HMA side. I actually talk lots with the counties, NHTs. So there's all this coordination going on just to maybe get one culvert answer. So I think throughout an entire day, I would say for me, it's almost all TAM.
I do spend probably about half my time working with GIS, but I consider that a little bit asset management work too, because people tend to want to see where the assets are and where the projects are. And, so I definitely spend a lot of time making maps, but it's maps of our assets.
I'm pretty much the same thing. So.
Yeah, it's like, I guess a key word of asset management or TAM, you know, of that to at least District 1, they consider everything I do is asset management. Even making the standard maps, working into the work plan area. And I think all of us are also now to with the life cycle, as Drew kind of talked about, cradle to grave, kind of tying that off at the back end, it even goes to maintenance. That information still has to come back to our planners and designers. So how from construction do we hand it off to maintenance and document these assets to all the way back around? So overall, if you ask that, are we doing TAM work 100%? Yeah, we are. But to what extent are you, you know, from that, as a database side, is it reporting, is it these functions over here? I guess that's the part with the IMS, we just try to figure out the best charge code.
Thanks.
Any other questions for our TAM coordinators? Ladies, you've been a fun group. Hopefully you've picked up some stuff about what we do and what this whole asset management piece and how important and critical it is to the function of ODOT. So appreciate your time and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.